Dear friends, we find ourselves today on October 7th, the one-year anniversary of the terrible attacks that forever changed the trajectory of our people. And I don't think it's hyperbolic to say that. Something happened on October 7th that changed the fabric of Am Yisrael, and not just Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael, but Am Yisrael, the Jewish people all over the world. The events of October 7th, the sheer brutality of it, the murder, the torture, the abductions, the abuse, were things that we thought were part of our historical past. And we were so brutally reminded that they are still part of our current narrative. And so what should we do on this day, on this anniversary of October 7th? What's our avoda? So of course, we know that on a primary, and this is true every day, our avoda is to daven for the return of our hostages, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Sh'Emir Hashem bring our brothers and sisters, men, women, and children back from captivity. We do not know the whereabouts of our hostages, the conditions of our hostages, and it is absolutely unequivocally unacceptable that Jewish men, women, and children are just simply being held with no recourse, with no information. And so we have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the truth is, in the world in which we live, it truly feels that it is only HaKadosh Baruch Hu who is going to bring them back home. We daven each and every day that our precious brothers and sisters should be returned to their families, to their land. We daven every day, and certainly on this day of October 7th, that our precious soldiers who are the tip of the spear in this war against evil on multiple fronts will be successful in all of their endeavors, and Emir Hashem come back to their families b'shalom and b'karov. But today is also a day to reflect. And for me personally, I'm reflecting on something that I think I haven't thought about as much over the course of the last year. You know, it's interesting in general. The way it works with death in Judaism is just even on a simple level. A person loses a loved one, everything happens so quickly. There's death, we bury it as quickly as possible. Then there's Shiva, and then after Shiva, you kind of reintegrate into the world. And part of Jewish wisdom is you mourn and then you move forward. And sometimes, even just in what we'll call, it's crazy to say this, like in regular loss, a person doesn't necessarily get to absorb the totality of what has occurred, of who their loved one was and what they meant to them. And that's the power of a yahrzeit. Power of a yahrzeit or anniversary of death is that often the surviving relatives have the ability to say, you know, we went through now a year, a unit of life without our loved ones. I could see what my mother, my husband, my father, my brother, I could see really what they meant to me, because I went through an entire year of life without them. Now I realize what they really brought, so to speak, to the familial table, what they really brought to my life, because now I see what's missing, now I see what's absent. And so as we come to October 7th, a year after this terrible tragedy that forever changed the trajectory of our people, we get to reflect a little bit more as well. And I want to draw your attention to something, like I mentioned before, that I've been focusing on a little bit as leading up to this day, leading up to October 7th, which is the dramatic heroism of our people. The dramatic heroism of Am Yisrael. And I don't just mean the heroism of our soldiers who are now fighting for us, fighting for Am Yisrael, not just Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. Our soldiers who fight for us, Am Yisrael, wherever we may be. But I mean the heroism on October 7th. Without getting into even all of the details, where the army was, what happened, thousands of people just sprung into action. Thousands of people took whatever weaponry they could find and went to protect their homes, and went to protect their families, and went to protect their communities. And sometimes they left their own safety and security to come and go ahead and protect others. And there are countless stories about this. Regular, ordinary people who are Moser Nefesh, some of them paying the ultimate price of giving their own lives, dying al Kiddush Hashem. Why? To save others. These stories of heroism will be forever etched into the annals of Jewish history. They will be forever become part of our historical narrative. There's a beautiful song that was released by an Israeli artist by the name of Asaf Harush. And the title of the song is Lo Koev, It Doesn't Hurt. And he writes, it is such a beautiful and moving song. And I just want to share with you a couple of the lines from the song. I'm not going to sing it, but I'm going to read it to you, read you some of the lines. because the words are so moving and the words are so profound. And he writes as follows. He's writing from the perspective of one of these people, one of these, a father, someone who on that day, on October 7th, realizing the danger that was there, left the safety and security of his home and of his family and went out to help his brothers and sisters. Here are the words, some of the words. Lo yacholti az lehishaer. I was unable to stay home. Mashu amuk bifnim karali timaher. Something deep inside of me said, move, go quickly. Rotz achshav ala gader. Run to the fence. A reference to the fence of Gaza. Run to the fence. Zarega bishvilo yaradat ali olam hazeh. Because maybe this is the moment that I came down to this world. Az ani lo rotzeh hagam shemargish hakadri ba'atzamot. Even though I feel the bullets in my bones. Mamshich, I must continue. Ki iladim noflim al imaot. Because children are falling upon their mothers. Maftiach she'etzli hakol beseder. And now the song shifts a little bit. It's talking about someone who ran to help and died of Kiddush Hashem. And now this person who gave their life, Akadushas Hashem, Ha'am Va'aretz, is speaking to his loved ones. And he says, I promise you, Maftiach she'kol etzli beseder. Excuse me, she'etzli hakol beseder. Everything now is fine with me. Kimo gibar mikabli otikan. In Shamayim, they are receiving me as a gibar. In Shamayim, they are hailing me as a hero. Maftiach she'etzli klum. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with me. Kvar lo koev. It doesn't hurt anymore. Kvar lo koev klum. Kvar lo koev. Nothing hurts me anymore. Nothing hurts. No, Chevra. Sometimes you take a step back and you realize that we are part of something so incredibly special. With all of the hatred and all the anti-Semitism, I wouldn't trade this for the world. To be part of a nation like this, to be part of Am Yisrael, to be part of the holiest and greatest people on the face of the earth, to be part of a nation when tragedy and adversity strikes, countless thousands upon thousands of people leaving their own safety and security to go ahead and rescue brothers and sisters who they didn't even know. That's what I choose to reflect on this October 7th. Yes, my heart is broken in a million pieces. And yes, I'm going to daven for the hostages, I'm going to daven for our soldiers, because I do that every single day. But on this day, what I also want to take with me is the heroism of our people. Because if each of us could reach deep inside ourselves and find that heroism as well, we could find ways to be heroic in our lives. That heroism that wasn't unique to the thousands who sprung into action on October 7th. That heroism is part and parcel of our spiritual DNA. Jews are heroes. Jews are heroic. And when circumstances call upon us to do things, we are able to pull things out. We are able to do things that we never thought we would be capable of doing. We're able to spring into action and create miraculous results and engage in heroic behavior and activity that we never thought we can do. We read about the Akedah on Rosh Hashanah, Avraham Avinu's willingness to sacrifice his son. Why? Because for Avraham Avinu, that was an act of spiritual heroism. He had to do something that was against his nature. What does it mean to be heroic? Heroic means I want to act a certain way, but circumstances call upon me to do something different. And so I'm ready to pivot. I'm ready to change. I'm ready to adjust. I'm ready to reach inside myself and find the ability to do things I did not know I could do. So Avraham Avinu, the man of chesed, the man of kindness, had to be heroic and exhibit a willingness to sacrifice his one and only son. And human beings, who again, our nature is self-preservation, our nature is safety. Thousands of our brothers and sisters sprung into heroic action a year ago, putting themselves in danger. Many of them giving their own lives to protect others, some who they knew, some who they didn't know. That heroism is who we are. That heroism is what we are. That heroism is the legacy of October 7th. So today is not only a day in which we mourn, And today is not only a day in which we reflect. And today is not only a day in which we will daven. And today is not only a day when we think about and we contemplate and we try to figure out what we could do for our brothers and sisters whose lives have been altered in such dramatic ways, but it is a day to remind ourselves that we are heroes. October 7th is not a day of victimhood. October 7th is a day to reinforce our national sense of heroism. Jews are heroes. We always have been, and we always will be. And October 7th showed us how deep those waters of heroism truly run. Today we remember those who ran into the line of fire, those who ran to the fences, those who ran to the outskirts of the Moshavim and the communities in the Gaza envelope, those soldiers who, although they were not part of any type of organized unit because of all the chaos, grabbed their weapon and ran into the line of fire. That is who we are. And that is the legacy of October 7th. And lest you think that that is just a trait that they, Jews 6,000 miles away have, Eretz Yisrael Jews have, we have it also. It comes from Avram, and it's been passed down generation after generation. We possess this trait of heroism. It's there for all of us. We just have to activate it. We just have to find it. Now we hope and pray that we will never be forced to activate our heroism in the same way that our brothers and sisters did a year ago today. But we could tap into that heroism for so many other things. There's so much change that needs to occur in our lives, and so much change that needs to occur in our families and in our communities. And we have to be heroic enough to be the agents of that change. October 7th reminds us how deep the waters of Jewish heroism run. May we be zochem Yirtzeh Hashem to find those waters in our souls as well. And in doing so, may we be zochem Yirtzeh Hashem to provide aliyah to the neshamas of all of those who were so brutally taken from us a year ago. May we be zochem Yirtzeh Hashem in the schos of finding our inner heroism, that Hashem should return our hostages. Allow our soldiers to be safe, secure, and successful. And halavai we should be zochem Yirtzeh Hashem that the coming year should bring bracha, hatzlacha, shalom, and geula for all of Klal Yisrael. Wishing everyone a gemar chasima tova, and halavai a year filled with besoros tovos for us as individuals and as a collective Am Yisrael as well.